Today I'm going to talk about defensiveness. You know that thing when someone says something to you and you go, oh yeah, but the reason that I did that is because of this, and that's why I don't hate me, or something. I'm sure you've encountered, either it's in yourself or in other people, when they're very defensive, it's always experienced as an annoying thing. We say things like, oh, stop being so defensive. I don't recall in my life ever having said, oh, that's so good, I wish you were more defensive. So let's look at this, because being defensive is such a common thing, or maybe it's just common for me. You know, I'm an ADHD coach. I'm really a life coach with expertise in ADHD, and as a coach, my role is to challenge people, to help them change. And so for me, I encounter defensive behavior all the time. And it does grate on mine. I don't like it. It is always annoying for me. However, what I've been trying to understand is really what it is, where it comes from, and what we can do with it. First, I tried to see maybe how it's beneficial, but to be honest, I haven't found much in that regard. I'll tell you the rest. I'll tell you what I think is going on, so that you can consider any times that you might find yourself being defensive, maybe having a little bit of insight into why that might be. That could give you some power, that could be useful for you. It may also be useful for you to understand the defensive nature, so that in your interactions with other people who might be frequently being fairly defensive, you might be able to either help them understand what's going on for them, or simply just ameliorate your own response to defensiveness, and in doing so be less frustrated by it, because you may understand better where it's coming from and why the person may be doing it. Now, defensiveness. Where does it usually come from? You say something to someone and they will perceive it as an attack or a criticism. Especially, the thing that I find very interesting is especially when it's not. A thing that I do often in my work as a coach is I will say, oh my God, you're doing so great. You did this well, and this well, and this well, and this well. You're just crushing it. And in this thing that you presented to me for the purpose of receiving coaching and getting feedback on so you can improve on it, in this thing, this fifth thing, here's a bit that you could have tweaked and improved. Instead of people going, oh yeah, okay, cool, and how do I use that? And oh, interesting, yeah. Wait, I want to make sure I get that right. People don't do that. They go, oh, but hang on, no, let me explain to you my reasons. Let me justify. Let me tell you the other reasons that maybe it was an okay thing, even though actually I know it's wrong, but maybe it could have been okay because of this. Why are you doing that? Why are you trying to justify or defend something in that context? And at the end of the day, it's almost always because they've perceived it as an attack. And so sometimes it might be prudent to ask, do you feel that I'm attacking you right now? Do you feel attacked by what I've just said? And usually people will say, well, no, actually. And then you go ask, well, okay, well then why did you feel the need to be defensive there? Why did you feel the need to defend your position? If you didn't feel that it was me that was attacking you. At that point, most people will just pause and go, I don't know. But some, the more insightful, or just the lucky ones who happen to stumble onto this answer, might report back something like, oh, well, I think I was actually just having a conversation with myself. And that's a very honest answer. That's the answer that when I first heard it made me start to understand what was really going on here. Because when we become defensive, especially into something in response to something that's not an attack, that's not criticism, there's only one reason for that. It's because a part of us criticized us. And we're just externalizing that. And what's happening there is that ego, that's one of the words we could use to describe this thing, our attachment with our own self and our own identity, is feeling threatened by perceiving an aspect of its own inadequacy. None of us like to feel imperfect. Feeling imperfect isn't comfortable. However, if we want to experience growth in any aspect of our lives, the only reason we would want to experience that is because by definition, it's not perfect in the first place. So therefore, if we want growth, we must accept our imperfections. And then when our imperfections are brought to light, instead of trying to pretend they weren't there or get rid of the discomfort of being aware of the imperfections, that's when we should celebrate and go, oh, I hate how this feels. Awesome, we're on the right track. Which is a bit hard to do, but you can see why that's kind of the way. And really what's happening most of the time when we're being defensive is we're trying to justify our position to ourselves so that we can decrease the discomfort, so that we can feel a little bit less bad about it. However, that's not the goal of the work. People don't come to me looking for coaching because they want to stay the same but feel fine about it. They come for coaching because they're looking for change, and change must inherently be uncomfortable. That is its nature. If you are not uncomfortable, you are not growing. However, of course, we don't like to feel it. Internally, we do all sorts of gymnastics. But that's why. That's why we can be defensive. It's because we're trying to reduce our own internal discomfort, not in response to what the person said, but in response to them bringing to light to us our own internal inadequacies. And we don't like that, and we try to just attack the source. And the source isn't them, the source is our thoughts about us. So we try to say to ourselves, oh no, but that's why I'm actually not as bad as maybe I may have just felt. Oh yeah, okay, I feel better now. Whew, what a relief. Again, reasonable, makes sense, and interferes with growth. So, good to avoid. But also reasonable. There is a case where defensiveness is reasonable, and that is when a person is actually attacking you. Someone, for whatever reason, almost always their own inadequacies and their own insecurities, they're attacking you on purpose and wanting to make you feel bad. Those are the times when being defensive might be reasonable. However, the really interesting thing is that in those cases, really, if you're trying to defend yourself and your position to someone whose intention is just to make you feel bad and less, here's how I would approach it. Anyone in the world who has the intention of making me feel or perceive myself as lesser is immediately disqualified as being someone I care about. If a human being seeks to attack me because they are so insecure themselves, I immediately could never care less about that person's approval, because what a weak and useless person that is. Some disrespect intention. I hope I'm saying that part right. I hope I'm saying that clearly. Because if I wanted to defend myself to someone else so they'd accept me, that's only worth doing if it's someone who I want to be accepted by. But if someone is a judgmental, insecure, and attacking person, I don't want to be their friend. I don't want that person to like me. I don't want anything to do with them. So why would I care at all what they think of me? And why would I care at all to give it enough oxygen to bother trying to correct it or do anything about it? The second someone attacks me for the purpose of wanting to attack me, to me, they just cease to exist. Literally just yeah, cool. Why would I ever waste a single breath on that? So, that's it. The only time defensiveness might make sense, and we've just deconstructed that it doesn't. Therefore, defensiveness is something to be aware of. Not to feel bad about if you do it, but to, if you do it, go inward and think, hang on, okay, why? Why am I doing this? Is it because they're attacking me? They are? Okay. Go away in the bin. Next. Or are they actually trying to help me? Yes. And if it feels uncomfortable, good. Now we're in the right area. Let's keep looking. Let's grow. That's how you can use your perception of feeling defensive to improve your growth trajectory. Thank you for your time. We are now at the end of this video. If I have managed to maintain and capture your attention up until now, I appreciate every second you've given. And thank you so much. Please hit like, hit subscribe. Make sure you check out my other videos if you like this one. And be aware, I make a video every single day. So tune in tomorrow and let's see what I can share that will help you